Hi, it's Jess here from Nigezza.co.uk. Thank you for joining me today. So today's another junk journal day. So in this video, I finish the cover of this journal. I need my pliers to fit these back on properly. So, but I can't find them. So, yeah, you have to bear with me for that. So I'll show you how I did this. So I used an Amazon cardboard envelope to make this, and I'm just trimming it down. So I'm going for 8 3/4 tall. I'm just taking the edges off to make it sort of possible. So 8 3/4 is what's required for the height of the journal, and then I kind of measured the width. And I'm using a folded one there, so that I could use those already sort of scored bits for the spine. I felt that sort of worked really well for it. And you can see there, I'm just checking that my signature will go in there nicely. So it's quite stiff, the cardboard, but it needs some reinforcement. So there's some Tyvek that I'm going to put on over the spine bit to make sure that it doesn't come apart. So I'm just using some colour glue there that I like to use in my journals, and I will stick it down over the area that's going to have most work of opening and closing. And so just smoothing it out there with my bone folder. There'll be some little oozing, no doubt, there of glue. And then I'm going to stick the flaps over, and I will get another piece of Tyvek to complete. You can see there where the glue's oozed, look, to complete that sort of area. So just sort of checking where I need to trim it down, and then that's inside and out. So there'll be no ripping. Tyvek's a really strong fabric paper that doesn't tear, so it's a good one to use if you want to reinforce the spine. Fabric will do it. Some people, I think on the one that I've done off camera, I used fabric, and that kind of does the same thing. So I'm just sort of giving it a crease where the crease lines are, and then I'm going to get my fabric. So I've got this lovely velvet, which I've just cut. So there's about 1 inch or so around, and I'm using some Fabitac there to glue it to the cardboard. So this was a scarf I'd bought in a charity shop, and that's me just going, oh, do I want it on that side? Do I want it on that side? Yeah, I bought it as a scarf, so I've got loads of it, and it was velvet on the front and the back, so I can make lots with it. So got a nice feel. I thought it would be kind of luxurious, and yeah, I just liked the look. So yeah, so glue all around, make sure it's flat, stick it down, and using my bone folder there to make sure it's all stuck down. I just love the variance of colours in it. Thought it looked quite plush and lovely. So then I'm going to just fold in each of the corners so that I know that the corners are covered. So just doing each of the triangles there, sort of at a nice 90-degree angle, and fold them all in. And it's just a nice, neat way of covering the corners. When I do paper, I generally, cut my diagonal cuts, and but for fabric, I felt this would give a nicer, stronger corner. And I've seen other people do it, to be fair. That's part of why I went for it and thought, oh, that's a good idea. So yeah, that's why I'm going for it. So lots of Fabitac, nearly at the end of this bottle actually, and I remember being shocked at the price of it, but I bought it during lockdown 1, so I've probably had it a year, and I have used it as well to patch jeans. I haven't just used it in crafting, and yeah, so I think that actually a year for a bottle of glue that cost me, what was it? It's about £7.50. Isn't that bad, really, is it? So yeah. I've got another bottle. I bought it just sort of ready so that I didn't run out. So yeah, I'll probably order another one now that I'm going to start the other one. So I know I've always got it in. Yeah, so I'm just putting the glue around. It is very strong glue, and it doesn't leave any residue, so like you don't get any wetness showing through the fabric, which I think is really important when you're doing something like this. You don't want to have sort of wet bits showing through when you're doing it, so that's what I liked about it. I did buy some cheaper glue locally, but I didn't like it. You could see a sort of a wet mark, and it never went, even when it dried. This sort of mark was there, so I think it's worth buying a decent product for the purpose. So that is just the last bit folding up there, and you get those nice little mitered edges, which is cool. And yeah, so that is the cover, and I think it looks quite nice. So then I am just going to rub it all down, make sure it's all right. I'm going to get a piece of cardstock there. So this is just some, I think it's 300 GSM craft card there. So I'm just going to put that over the area in the middle, and so that will give some added strength to it. So we've there got 2 layers of card and a layer of fabric there, and then it doesn't quite obviously go to the 2 edges, so I'm going to get some more card, and I'm just going to cut that one in half and do it on the 2 sides there. So there'll be a gap in the middle, but it'll be fine. That middle bit's got Tyvek, so it'll be perfectly fine. And it's just then we've got 3 layers of card then, so it'll be a nice stiff cover, which I thought was important. I have been experimenting with lots of different ways of doing covers, and this is the first time I've kind of just used card in this way. Well, the first one I did a cereal box and covered that with layers of cardstock, and I've done a padded envelope, and I have done a corrugated cardboard as well, and so this is me finding the bit that needs folding up, so I'm just using my ruler there to help me get to the bit that was, the folds were already in the card, so I'm just sort of putting them folds back in. I think in retrospect I would have probably reinforced them a bit more before now, but that kind of worked. There is a bit of rising in the centre, which I'm trying to sort of flatten down, which kind of did to a, maybe not the degree I would have liked it. So yeah, I need to think about that. I might watch some more videos on how to do covers, but you know, it is what it is, and I'm just there sort of reinforcing it a bit more, and yeah, I just thought, oh, it'll do. I did think, well, shall I just start again? And then I just thought, nah, we'll just carry on. Sure, it'll be fine. When everything's stuck down, we can cover it with something, it'll be fine. So that is one of the backing sheets from Auntie May's. And I hadn't realised that's what it was, so I'd like written some notes on it, and then when I realised that, I was like, oh, and I thought, oh, well, it doesn't matter, I'm going to stick it down. So I thought, waste not, want not, I'm not going to print another, I'm going to go ahead and use it. So I'm putting that on the inside, and obviously there is gaps, so because it's wider than A4, so I'm going to put some pockets on the two ends to cover up those gaps. But it sort of gives you a nice little inside on the inside cover. And there's me again putting back in those creases, and trying again to work out those bits that are rucked up a little bit. So this is some coffee stain card. So I'm just looking there to see sort of what width I need it to be. I think I'll go for about 3 inches, I think. So it's the height of A4, so it'll be the same height as the card that I stuck on, and then 3 inches wide, so that they're ready to stick on there and be pockets. And I'm just going to take a bit of ink there. So I've got some cinnamon cider, and I'm just going to ink round the edges there with a bit of sponge. Couldn't find my dauber, so I just went for a bit of sponge that I had lying around, and I'll just put the edges on there, because we like everything to be inked, don't we? I think it finishes it off nicely. So just putting them round, and then I will put glue on 3 sides so that we get our pocket. So there, just the top and the bottom and along the side. So a very simple pocket on there, and so I'll do that to both, and then of course I'm not going to leave it like that, I'm going to decorate it as well. So yeah, I'll just sort of repeat that process on the other side. I say that's tea stained, not, I think I might have said coffee stain, it's tea stained. I don't coffee stain anymore because it smells. So yeah, so that's just tea stained card. So I think that was Standing Up Whispers White there that I've stained. So so that's that bit done. So then we've got to think about how I'm going to decorate it. So I've done one there off camera, and so I'm going to decorate that in exactly the same way. So I've got these big tags, which I've previously made, and got some other sort of embellishments. This is a wonderful encyclopedia that I've got. A friend of mine brought it round. It was from I think a relative's house. Nobody wanted it, so she went, I know somebody will want it. So it's quite nice that the way the writing goes, it's in 2 columns, so it's like makes a nice size there for that sort of 3-inch bit of card. So I'm using a ripping ruler with fancy edges there, and so now I'm going to use a blending brush there and some cinnamon cider just to sort of ink round the edges. And it's got really nice coloration, but of course we always end up adding more, don't we? So so that gives it a nice sort of faded look there. And so I'll glue that down again with, I'm going to do a glue stick first. I like to do that so that I know every bit of the paper is stuck, but I don't trust it 100%, so then I add my Collard glue to it to make sure that it is properly stuck down. I did think about afterwards, I thought, oh, I could have done some sewing, but I didn't, so that's that. So I'm now just going to put this pocket in. So all I'm doing is creating a bit of a rectangle that's going to have about a 1/2 inch sort of extra bit on 3 sides, so that they'll be folded over to make a pocket. And then I want it to be a slanty pocket, so I'm going to cut a bit of a slant off and about another, I'll say 1/2 inch at the top there, so that gives it a nice sort of lip over. So just folding them all down, and then we'll just trim off the corners so that it'll fold in nicely, and excuse me, trim off the bit at the top so that I can glue down the diagonal bit, so that's the nice edge to the pocket, and then we can glue in the 3 edges so that it sticks to the pocket, and then the pocket is as wide as the pocket is, and we can fit a decent size tag in there. If it had just been one directly onto it, that wouldn't have been able to happen. So then I want to do some decoration. So I've got some of the Artie Mae's ephemera bits. I'm going to put a bit of cheesecloth down to go underneath it. That's exactly what I did on the other pocket. So I'm just trimming it down, and I usually put a bit of glue stick for cheesecloth if I'm then going to stick something on top, because the glue will go through the weave of the cheesecloth, and so I figure that works quite well. And then I've got 3 more little elements. There's a faux postage stamp that I made, and I've done a video on that. And so just stick them down as a nice little sort of cluster to add a little bit interest and decoration there to the pocket, and it kind of sort of matches what's going on the backing sheet as well, because that's got sort of just clusters of different sort of cards and photos and things, so sort of all fits in with the theme. So that is what I did to decorate that. So now we just need to do the signature. So that's my guide. I've shown how I've done my little template for it before, so I'm just there adjusting all the sheets to make sure they're all in the right place before I stick my holes in. So I've taken a little bit of that's just scrap from junk mail, and I fold it in half, long ways and width ways, to find the centre point, and then I fold the end into the centre point, and then in to find the quarter point, so it's on the quarter, the half, and then a quarter again. And so then we just need to secure everything with the bulldog clips. It is quite bulky because I decorated all the pages first. Now, some people sew the signatures in and then decorate the pages, and I've done it both ways. The first one I did, I sewed in the signatures and then decorated the pages. And then the second one I did, I decorated all the pages and then sewed the signatures in. And that kind of was the way I liked it better. So I've just continued to do it in that way. So yeah, there's a bit of me thinking that the next time I might do it, that I sew all the signatures in first, because there's a bit of me that thinks they put too much in. I don't know. So there we are. I'm just using an awl there to punch through. I do bend the book over a little bit whilst doing that. It helps get it more down the centre bit that you want it to be in, doing it that way, and it's less likely to be off. And then that's a bit of wax thread. 3 times the height is about what you want. And then I've got a nice wide-eyed needle there, so even me without glasses can thread that. And then always remember to take your template off. I have sewn on with the template, so then I'm just putting my needle through, and I'm going through the signature and then out through the cover, and then back in the bottom one. There I'm doing it the cover first and then in the signatures, but they're all, the holes line up, so that's fine. Going back down the centre, making sure you're going through the hole, you're not splitting the thread, and then up through the top. So I remember always thinking that this was very complicated when I first saw it, but actually it's quite simple. Just 3 stitches, and that's pretty much it. So that one coming through, so then it's a matter of giving everything a big pull and checking that it is tight on the outside. And then when you're satisfied, you put the needle underneath the big stitch that you've formed and then do a knot. And then I'm choosing to do a bow. Some people leave them long and add charms, but I quite like to bow actually. So that's why I left it at that. And so now removing them and the signatures are all sorted. So now I just need to sort of think about decorating the front. So I've got these metal embellishments there. There's a nameplate and some corners, and I've used them before. And then I've just got some strips of ribbon and a little journal tag there, which I thought was cool. So there I'm just putting in a brad around the ribbon, and I sort of attach it, and then I realised like an empty that I wanted the brads to go through the back bit of the ribbon as well. So yay, got to undo it all again now and stick it through this bit of fabric, which matches the colour in the velvet, which was a bit of a fluke. I found it in my stash. It was actually something that I got in some, somebody had gifted me a load of junk journal stuff, and that was in it, not the velvet, but that little bit of like sort of silk, and it was like, oh, that's perfect. The ribbon was in it as well, so it kind of all goes really nice. So I'm just going to stick that there. Again, I will use Fabitac because it's fabric on fabric to stick that down, and that will be my simple frontage. The other one that I've made, I have, it's not simple, it's got loads on it, so I just went for something simple for this one. So yeah, I think that works. And then I decided I wanted to put a ribbon down the spine. I didn't want the stitches to be seen, so I've got this lovely Stampin' Up gold ribbon. It's a retired ribbon, and I thought that would go nicely in. I didn't have enough of the other ribbon to do it, so I thought, oh, we'll go for something a little bit different. I think it blends really nicely in, and then I can stick it on the inside, and I'm then going to use a bit of crochet ribbon as well, and that covers up some of that sort of puckering that I had that I didn't like. So that worked a treat. So I'm going to do a bit at the front and a bit at the back. So there's me just cutting it up. I got that from eBay, that lace. Not a bad price. Can't remember what I paid for it, but I got quite a lot for not a lot. So that's helpful, isn't it? So yes, I'm just sticking that on, and that also kind of picks up some of the lace and that's in the background paper, and I've used that lace on the tags as well, so it all ties in quite nicely. And that piece is a slightly different colour, so I think I avocado dyed that piece, but it kind of goes with the pinkiness that's there on the page. So that covers that up nice. I think it gives it a nice little finish off. And then, oh yeah, that fell out. So then I thought, oh, I need to just, oh yeah, no, I'm adding the fastening. So that is, I'm just making an eyelet hole. I'm just doing one at the back. Sometimes I do them at the front and the back, but I decided to just put one at the back, and then I've got a piece of the ribbon that I've put on the front, and I'm going to just poke it through. So one end's longer than the other. I'm just going to poke it through at the not quite halfway, pull it round, and then I'm going to put the longest piece going around the back, shorter piece coming around the front, and then we can just tie a bow, and that will be the fastening. There, just a neat little bow there. Didn't want anything too extravagant. It was the only piece I had left, so it couldn't be too extravagant. So then I just want to sort of finish off the front and back covers there with a bit of that crocheted lace. So again, it all ties in, and it also covers up the fact that as you fold over your papers for your signature, the front cover becomes a little bit smaller. Everything sort of protrudes a bit, and because I didn't sort of trim them all down to be the same size, that just allows the front cover to actually look like it fits. So that's why I did that. So again, I'm using Fabitac because it is, of course, fabric going onto paper. So that's nice. And then I got one or two more little sort of finishing touches that I want to do. So I am just putting in some eyelets at various points in the journal, because I want to sort of sew some, not sew, but dangle some charms. So setting some eyelets, doing one at the top of the page, one in the centre of the page, and then the final one will be towards the end of a page, so that I've just got 3, don't need too many. And then just a nice little interesting touch. So I've got some bulb pins there, and they go nicely through the eyelets, and then I'll get some charms just to hang from them. The charms I've used before, I think I've showed them on a previous video, that these were very shiny gold, and I've just used some alcohol ink to sort of make them a little bit more antique looking, sort of aged them. Sort of followed a Tracy Fox video for that. So, yeah, they're all dangling down there nicely, and I'm having a little bit of trouble with that one, as often happens. And then I just wanted to sort of finish off. So I've got these tags, these were just direct from the kit, and I'm just going round those sides there, keeping one side open for a little tag, just to add a little bit of interest there. And I'm going to do the same on the back, rather than just have a plain page. And that is it. So those tags I had just backed onto tea stained paper, and then the other tags, I think I showed you those in a previous video, making those tags. I think that was just a couple of weeks ago, and they fit in there very nicely. So then you've just got to put the corners on, just to finish off. They need pliers to really sort of push them down, but I can't find them, so that's all I've done. So yeah, that's it. That's the finished journal. So I will link to my blog, where you can go and have a little look. Be a few sort of measurements there for you to look at, some close-up pictures, and I shall do a full flick through next Wednesday. So I hope you enjoyed me doing this, and I shall be back with another Stamming Up video on Friday, and a flick through next Wednesday. See you then. Bye.